Okay, what's up, everyone? This is the second segment of the podcast. A podcast, okay? And before we continue right now, and it 60 seconds will be given as a short to anyone, and in the description of the short is the link to the live stream for this podcast. We talked about business ideas, and a lot of valuable information was really given in that live stream. It is advised to watch it if you are watching right now. This is the first 50 seconds will go to anyone who can see the video through a shot. So make sure you check the description and hit that description, hit the link in the description so you can watch the live stream. Okay, it's something that's life changing. So just do it right now. Okay, so going over right now to the main show right now. We have on the show. Hit the subscribe button if you are yet to. If you are not hitting the subscribe button right now, you get ready to receive a slap from me. Okay, so make sure you like this video too. If you like, you can like it. If you don't like, it does nothing to us. Now we have one thing right now. This is a drink. I've been working on this drink since for a very long time now, for some time now, and you can see we have a different color here. Let me put it here. You see the color? It's different. Okay, different color. Okay, now this is the usual color. Okay, but now I'm trying to make sure I get something different. You can see if you press the can, it's stiff. This one is stiff despite the color change. I added some new things into it. Then this one is also stiff despite the usual color change. So let's see what happens when I open the drink. So just stay connected. I'm gonna open here. You can watch from that small window, that small square. You can watch. So let's see what happens. So even the camera here had to stop. The camera here had to stop. I don't know why it even stopped. Because of the sound, I don't understand. Wow. Even me, I did not expect it to this extent. But I expected it would explode. But not to this extent.
Wow.
So imagine you can have a soft drink like this where you open and it gives you this sound and it also tastes good. Like, isn't it not gonna be great? That's what I'm trying to do. I want to create a drink like this that you can open. It just sound like wine, like this. Poof out, and you can still drink it well and feel good about it. That's what I'm working on. Okay, so you can drink it. It contains vitamin B complex. For some little research I've done about the stuff, it's an invented work. I gotta do a lot of work on it. Okay, and you can see it.
That is it. I think one of the best ways that I've seen to like whatever you're trying to do is to look at all the other people or businesses that are in your related fields and try to learn from them. Try to learn what they are doing in order to improve your own. I think even for any particular thing that the one that is jobs or where programming, particularly programming, you can go just try to check all their patterns, try to learn about their technique. I think that is a good way to learn.
Okay, that's a fantastic way. So you see this stuff. At first, when I started this drink, it wasn't like giving me this reaction. Sometimes to give me this reaction, but sometimes it won't give me this reaction. I had to make up to 30 cans, I'm sure, of this same drink. That was what I observed each of them. So I observed the quantity that I had to put into it and the water level too that gives this particular consistent result. So you see it. This is really, really. So let's see this other one. Let's see what happens. Okay, talk. So let's see this one. Let's see what happens right now. You can see the color is different. I added some new things into it. So let's see what happens when it is opened. You see this one did not explode. Okay, so and that's it. So you see this one did not explode. There's a reason for this. I already understood it might not explode. The reason for this is because impurities were added. I added impurity. okay, into it. So it's not this pure stuff that I got from this one. So whenever I had impurity, sometimes it doesn't give me the explosive reaction. That's why I have to really be careful and with what I put into it, so that I can still get that explosive reaction. That's what I want to get, that poof, and the sweet content. That's what I want to maintain. So you can see it right now from experiment. It did not give the explosive reaction. Simple. Okay, right now we have to go over to the podcast. Say podcast. If you are there, make sure you hit the subscribe button and make sure you stay connected. Okay. So now for the podcast right now, this simulation hypothesis is the title of the podcast right now, and oh, this is sweet too. Let's go again. Okay, I'm set. Okay, now, as always, I'll have to read some quotes to you right now. You're watching right now, and make sure you watch our live stream if you have not. Make sure you watch. That's the first segment. We stream live talking about business. Make sure you watch it. Now this is another segment. This is the last segment of the podcast for today, and make sure you subscribe and stay connected for the next podcast. Okay, we're always gonna have this particular guest because it gives massive value. Stay connected. So now the stuff we have is the podcast quotes for today. Number one, we have he that never changes his opinions, never corrects his mistakes, and will never be wiser on the morrow than he is today, by Tracing Edwards. 2. Life is a progress and not a station, by Ralph Waldo Emerson. 3. As a person thinks in his heart, so he is. Proverbs. 4. Do not be bound by greeds you do not believe. The Science of Being Great, by Wallace D. Waters. 5, I think 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Give more in value than you get from people in cash reward. The Science of Getting Rich, by Wallace D. Waters. 6. The main dangers in life are the people who want to change everything or nothing. 7. The one unchangeable certainty is that nothing is certain or unchangeable. 7, I think so. 8. The eternal God is your refuge, and underneath are his everlasting arms. 9. If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, then change the way you see it, by John F. Kennedy, something like that. Yeah. Then 10. Change is inevitable except from vending machines. Okay, so now that's all right. Now I believe you got the it. Okay, now so let's go to the main idea, the simulation hypothesis. The reason I really want to discuss this particular, should I say, topic is because of some certain proof we really have that might really attest to the fact that we might be actually living in a simulation. Now, what is the number one proof I have? Here is the number one proof I have. We're going to let the guest talk, but here is the number one proof I have. Albert Einstein gave a really gave something, an idea that is really intriguing. He said something. He said the universe, the earth rotates, right? The earth rotates and also revolves around the sun, right? Now, but why is it that we don't have any obvious proof that this earth is actually moving? Why is it that we don't feel the movement? But Einstein gave an accurate explanation to this effect. You know what he said? He said, imagine this. Imagine a person in a bus, sitting in a bus, okay? And the person is driving. Let's say the person is at the back seat, and the person holds a mango fruit. The person is just throwing it up and down, and the bus is moving up and down, up and down. You agree with me that the mango is not going to fall off the person's hands, right? It's going to land the person's hands, right? Now imagine another person who stays like in the street, just stays in one spot, just stand. Imagine another person standing and he's just holding that same mango fruit, just throwing it up and down. What happens? The mango does not fall off the person's hands, right? It's even the land that the person earns. Now, that is the exact thing he used to explain what's going on in the universe. Now, the person who is moving right now is the person who is moving and is throwing that thing in the bus is having the experience of a static body. You see it now, it's having the experience of a static body, but it's moving, but it's having the experience of a static body. But that is how he said the same thing happens with the universe. The earth rotates, we are just like we in the bus. We are having, but we're having the experience of a static body, of a static universe, of a static earth. That's why it seems to us that this earth is actually not moving, but in the real sense, it is moving. What? What? So the thing is this right now. Like the person who created the universe must be a very smart person. So now how is that possible? Like how is that possible? You gotta ask yourself questions like this. Another thing that really intrigues me is this. We're gonna go over to the main idea version. Now, there's another thing. Photons are the individual particles of light, right? Photons are the individual particles of light. Photons carry energy, right? Now, a scientist said if we should install clock into a photon, the clock won't move. That's the question. That's what the person said. So if we should install time in a photon, this time will stop. The clock with the time will stop to move or tick. The question now is why? Like why? It's like why? Why? And if that time stops to tick, we might actually, I don't know if we will stop life or we might actually be able to see the past or something else like that. So things like that helps like really turns my mind upside down sometimes. And turns my mind upside down in the right direction, which is to explore more and to know more. So that Albert Einstein's explanation of relativity is really it's really marvelous. It's really marvelous. So let's dig deep right now into the simulation hypothesis. Is life a dream? Will you one day wake up and see that it was a dream? So let's go right now.
So basically, okay, let's start. By definition, a simulation. Let me start with the definition of something like a simulation. So a simulation is basically like a process where you try to imitate real life something, or you are trying to put in some, like you made something. I want to see how that particular thing will perform. Like you are trying to carry out some tests with you're trying to carry out some tests at a smaller scale or at a scale just to see how some things might perform. So in a way, simulations are basically carried out for testing. Like let's say you want to manufacture a car, but you don't want to manufacture everything about the car before you see, like you want to get to know how the car will operate in every circumstance. So it's not physically possible to test the car in every circumstance around the world to see how it will operate.
Yeah.
So scientists or engineers now will not turn to simulation models. So the models now simulate the different environments and conditions just to see how these particular cars will operate in those different places. Then they will take their calculations or their estimations based on the results from the simulations. So this simulation hypothesis is now saying that we are in a way somewhat like that car. So we are in a sort of experiment. So it means that anybody that is alluding that we are experiencing a simulation hypothesis, it means therefore the person is saying, okay, there's a higher being that is therefore controlling everything and is ordering everything. So we human beings are in a sort of test. So everything that we see now is just a test to see how we will perform or to gauge the performance of human beings.
So don't you think that is actually happening? Don't you think that's actually, if you read a book, The Science of Being Great, it says like from the success from generation to generation, we have observed series of changes. It's called evolution. change in structure, change in shape. Like the present day human beings are really, really beautiful and handsome. The present day ones than probably the olden days ones. Now, like, what was the result for this change? If it is not a test, then why is there evolution? So, don't you really think that is a test? Don't you really think this life is a test?
For me, it could be a test, or probably for evolution again is just simply passing survival of the fittest
Yeah,
based on the way Darwin explained it. So basically, the strongest will pass on their genes.
yeah,
So definitely, those ones too will continue passing on their genes. And let's say if there are a number of giraffes in a particular place,
yeah,
definitely the giraffe with the longest neck will survive the longest since they can reach leaves in the
yeah,
higher trees. So there is a higher chance that they will get to pass on their genes to the next generation. So since now they are passing their genes of long neck giraffes, probably the next ones, those ones too, will still continue passing on their genes. So definitely, good genes will most definitely get passed on. So evolution now is just simply trying to say that okay, definitely the features that make a particular organism more adaptable in their society or in their environment
okay,
will get passed on to the next generation. So that is basically just evolution. So evolution based on testing. I don't think evolution now can be used uh, as a supportive notion for this simulation hypothesis because let's say evolution could be like an outcome
okay,
of of the whole thing. Like basically in simulations, you don't know what is going to happen. That's why you make those simulations in the first place. So basically, you don't know if a car is driving in the particular desert, what forces it will definitely encounter. Or probably you could have built some features into the car, but you don't know how they will operate. So probably this whole idea of evolution now is something that has already been built in, but they don't know how it will operate. But based on as the organisms are interacting in their particular environment, this particular feature now is now working out well. So for me, evolution now is not really a good idea to support the simulation hypothesis because let me just say it's just like an outcome of the simulation, for example.
okay. So, what idea do you have to support this idea, the likelihood of we being in a simulation? Like, like, let's start from there. What idea do you have?
I think for me to really prove the whole thing of let's say that we are in a simulation is that
Or
you need to
likely to
prove
be?
that we are in a simulation. For me, you will need to prove the existence of the higher being or higher beings that are conducting this
The
simulation,
simulation.
for example, now. Because that is the only way the whole hypothesis will make sense. Because without the higher being, without somebody performing or carrying out the simulation,
There's no
there's no
simulation.
way you can define that
Yeah.
it's a simulation. It will just be like normal life. So for
Mhm.
you to actually say, okay, there is a simulation hypothesis where you believe that human beings are living in this simulation where our every actions again, this is that in the simulation, our actions are not controlled exactly. They are not the simulations. It's just like human beings now. We do different things. We do some things out of the ordinary. Our actions are not necessarily controlled. Let's just say we have common make or common structures, or our whole beings are built on common principles or common everything. Our bodies, our minds. Let's just say we are from one root, basically. So in simulation now, those things are supposed like those particular features now are not supposed to interact with their environment, interact with other organisms or other things around in the environment. Then from there, the results of how those things or how those features or how those things perform will not be taken. So for me, the main way to prove that okay, there is really we are really living in a simulation is to prove that there are existence of higher beings that are actually controlling the simulation that we live in. Like you gave an example with a free guy.
Yeah.
You saw how free guy was.
Yeah.
There were people actually outside
Yeah,
that were controlling
controlling.
the whole game.
But to the
But
gamers,
they did not know.
yeah, they
Because
didn't know.
their actions now were like they were just living normally. They did not like their whole lives. It's not like they were being controlled in every aspect. But most of the things they did were similar.
Yeah.
But the people controlling them were not controlling everything exactly.
Yeah, that's yes. They were not controlling
So,
everything.
So basically, for me, that is the main way for me that I can say, okay, there is actually a simulation where there's evidence of higher beings in play.
Yeah, a simulation in that form. If you watch the movie Free Guy, I think I watch it right now. I'm sure you hit the subscribe button. It's an interesting topic, okay? Now, if you watch a Free Guy is a movie. Just go download it. Search for Free Guy on Google. Just download Free Guy MP4. Download Free Guy movie, or ask someone who has the movie to send it over to you through sender. You observe that the exact movie of that Free Guy might be the actual thing humans are experiencing right now. If you watch that movie called Free Guy, you observe that there were higher beings creating the other people, creating a kind of a simulation to test things too. But they were not controlling every aspect of the people in the game. They were not controlling all the aspects. There were some aspects they were influenced. There were some they just watch to see the results. So now, what if that exact thing, a simulation in that form or a simulation of that type, what if that kind of simulation is happening right now? That's the question. That's what we're discussing. What if it is happening right now?
For me, like, I believe that we are in some form of simulation.
Yeah, we must be.
I would need to prove like there's the existence of those higher beings.
Yeah.
So for me, it's more than a theory, basically. But I believe that we live in a form of simulation. So basically, let's say I'm talking from the direction of a Christian, where we believe the whole universe was created by God and everything He created everything.
Yeah.
So if you read the Bible and you try to understand it, basically the way human life on earth is ordered is still akin to a simulation.
Yeah.
We are put. The thing is that if you notice, God is He's not controlling every aspect of our actions. We have this freedom to do things. We have sentience, that is, we are aware of ourselves and our environment. We can order, we can change things around us, we can influence things around us to some extent. But if you look at it, after basically, we are still judged on our performance here on earth. Like,
it's a test
to get our performance here on earth.
Yeah.
So in a way, according to the Bible, or even according to the Quran,
according
to many of us, we are living in a simulation.
The Bible even supports it. The Bible supports it indirectly, in a way that we are living in a simulation. But the Bible does not want its followers to worry about it. Okay, that's why it's indirectly. If you think really well, you understand the Bible supports it.
Okay, let's break it down a bit for us to let's try to understand the way everything is a simulation. So basically, we are born into the earth.
Yeah.
But according to the Bible, there's this let's say there's this target or this destination that we are supposed to we are supposed to be good people. We are supposed to show goodness and things like that. So that is the goal. So we here on earth, we are now, when we die or probably as we are living, we are judged based on our ability to come close to that mark of, as in, being good or being sinless or things like that. Then what we are done, basically we go to, if you can hit the mark or hit very close to the mark, you go to heaven.
Yeah.
So, yes, definitely, according to the Bible, it's a simulation.
Yeah, because in a simulation, there's always a goal.
We are assessing our abilities based on our interactions around and just to see how we will perform, how we will interact, how we will behave. And the best get picked for heaven and the
Yeah, that is exactly what's going on. Like in a simulation, like what you explained, like for the engineer's part, that's what you explained. There must be a goal in a simulation to see how something will actually
Yeah.
perform. Now, if you check, we have a goal too. According from the Bible viewpoint, there is a goal. Now we have to go in now to see how we will perform. That's a striking evidence, like the Bible, to show that we are likely to be in a simulation. A scientist, a rough scientist, let's come to a rough scientist. That guy is a wizard. Okay, the physicist, an astrophysicist, says something. When he was asked recently, I think that should be this year, early this year. I watched the video early this year. He was asked. He said, like, that's a wizard. I mean, a wizard in physics. Okay, he's a wizard. I reiterate, it's a wizard. Okay, they asked him. He said, "This is a modern day about Einstein." They asked him. He said, like, "Are we likely living in a simulation?" You know what he said? He said, "We are 50% likely to be living in a simulation." You know what that word means in science? When they tell you it's 50%, this is not assumption. Science is not assumption. So when a rough scientist tells you it's 50% likely we live in a simulation, they know it is even in a simulation. That what he said is we're likely 50% living in a simulation. That was what he said. Now another proof right now, I want us to discuss this part. Since going over to the beginning. Humans don't yet understand the beginning. The Bible tells us in the beginning God created us. But should we look deep? The Bible tells us does not stop us from thinking about it to understand really well what happens there, what happened in the beginning. Now, the Bible can give us a leap to understand what's actually going on, but you won't see it obviously. You have to think deeply to understand it. So now let's understand that part right now. In the beginning, right now, I think in every simulation, the beginning is not always clear. Imagine you were the free guy, you won't know where you came from, right? Imagine you were the free guy right now. You won't know where you came from. All you knew was you saw yourself in an environment, right? There were skies, water, shares, you saw people like you too dancing, you saw buildings, right? In every simulation, there is likely not going to be a source. There's likely not going to be like a clear should I say source or a clear origin in every simulation. Now for the cars, imagine the cars are conscious and you want to test to simulate them. Imagine they are conscious. They won't be able to tell where they are from. All they know is they are moving. So in every simulation, the source or origin is not always clear. So now our source and our origin is never clear. No matter what science says the earth was once a globe of burning gas, this and that, condensed, vapors condensed. Then it says somewhere in the water, life came. Then from single cellism, evolution took place to single. That's not. It's a good explanation to explain the Bible. It's a good explanation, but that's not really that clear. That is a proof that we're in a simulation. In every simulation, the source origin is not always clear. You can explain it to, like the free guy can explain, okay, I was born through my mother's womb, period. That's all he knows. But he doesn't know that there's something out there.
Yeah.
So
like it's just a continuation in the whole simulation.
exactly.
Like I said, that birth now, giving birth is a form of it's like a feature or like a part of the particular organism. So that birth does not really it's just something that was supposed to happen because again the wombs were put into women to give birth. I think that birth was always going to happen. So if you say I was born, I don't think it does not remove this thing that okay, we are not in a simulation. It's actually just like a normal thing in the simulation where the whole thing will go again in the simulation. You don't really know where things will go.
Yeah.
You just put everything out there and you just be like basically if you are running a simulation, the models that you are using to run the simulation, you just put the particular features that you feel they need into them, then you release them into like you just put the simulation
to see how they will perform.
Basically, you don't know where we go.
Yeah.
So they can go in any direction.
Yeah. Okay. So like where we stopped, okay? We're talking about where did we stop? We talked about the beginning. Okay.
We're talking about how the origin
Yeah,
of
origin.
the simulation
Yeah.
is not always clear.
Yes. It's not always clear. So even the Bible, like our origin is not clear. And in every simulation, the origin is not clear. And we also have other striking evidences. Check for instance, let's go from the Bible viewpoint. You said in a simulation, the simulation we're talking about right now is a simulation where the higher beings don't control everything. Okay, we do. Now if you check right now, even from the Bible viewpoint, check there was a time God regretted creating humans, right? If God were 100% in control, I'm not sure he would control them to be that bad, right? So that shows he's not 100% in control of the game. So now this is another proof to show we might be living in a simulation, even from the Bible. And this is really clear. We might be in a game. Now check right now. They've shown like there are some people that can tell you this person died some time ago, but they saw the person in another place right then, probably in a different location. There are some people that will tell you something like that do happen. Like that's what we're trying to clarify here. Okay, that's what we're trying to clarify. Why is it that we have some absurd experiences in this world where you see someone dies and it can probably you can see the person in another place, in a different place. The story we heard, someone died, they saw the person at another location entirely. When the person was discovered, they couldn't see the person again. So that's the thing right now. That's what we're trying to clarify here. But if we can understand how we are in a simulation, then all these absurd experiences will be able to be comprehensible to us. So now let's go deeper. The Bible supports the idea that we are in a simulation. What do you have to say about that?
For me, I think even if we know we are in a simulation, we don't really have any power to change anything about to change the way, to change our direction or what's happening to us around there. Like every single thing in this life now, let's say apart from some objects, inanimate objects that may be under our control, almost everything is just another model in the simulation again. It's not
Yes.
just human beings that are in the simulation.
Yeah,
Animals,
yes.
like all of nature now is part of this simulation. So we cannot just really change every single thing. So the way we want, we can only try to play our part or try to just adapt to the simulation. Basically, that is what simulations are supposed to for how each model adapts and interacts with each other. Basically, simulations is somewhat similar to biology in a way.
Yeah.
Where you're just simply checking of how the different organisms live in their particular habitat, how they interact with other organisms, things like that. So, like I explained with the Bible, I think, as I explained in the Bible, the simulation again, I think, was the whole thing is sketchy though. But if you look at the Bible, based on the creation, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So they were two different places. And according to the Bible, the earth, like everything was perfect. There was no sin, no death, no sickness. There was no evil until Satan arose.
Yeah.
That was when Satan rebelled in heaven. Then God cast him down to earth. Then in earth, that was where he got in contact with Adam and Eve. Then probably ruined things for humanity. But before then, I think everything was perfect. So I don't. It's still part of the simulation theory because I think before then I don't think human beings would have needed to go to heaven since God had already made the earth perfect.
Yeah.
You get
like
Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden where everything they ever wanted was provided for them. But I think probably God still created human beings as an experiment.
Yeah.
Just as models for this. Like he wanted to know, okay, what if we made man in our own image and put him into that place? I think one thing that I'm even getting is that God knew that man would eat that apple.
Yeah.
That's why he placed it
To
there.
test.
So it's just like he did not intend for man to eat the apple.
Yeah.
But I think again he knew that man was going, or he wanted to see if man
We
would
actually
eat
do
the
it.
apple.
That's
So it's not like a controlled experiment.
yeah, going
It's
on.
not like it's not controlling the actions of the man. You're
Yeah.
simply introducing different factors
To
into
see how
the
they will
environment
react.
to see how man will respond to it. So he was not really shocked when man ate the apple because he knew that man was going to. If not, if you ask me, why he put the apple there in the first place? There's no reason for that apple, or let's say for that fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. There was no reason for it to have been there.
Yes,
in the
if
first
not for
place,
experiments.
if there was no purpose
Yeah,
for it.
that's
Humanity now is an experiment. If you read the Bible, humanity right from the start has been an experiment. Even when you see he created Eve, he created Adam, and Adam was alone. He looked around, there was no companion for Adam.
Yeah.
Then decided to introduce another factor called Eve into the solution. And that's now changed everything. Like, I think that is what makes this whole thing interesting for me. I don't know, I'm just thinking from my mind. But I'm thinking that is what makes this whole thing interesting for God, because if you try to look at humanity from some angle, if you look past all the horrible things happening, humans are actually a funny or they are interesting characters.
Yes, I can watch.
God keeps us around. We are actually interesting characters to actually observe and look at to learn to look at again. Like we are because we are how will I put this? We are unpredictable.
Yeah.
A lot of our actions are unpredictable even to us. Just look like you are looking at babies. They are just chaos. You don't know what they are going to do.
Yeah.
So I think that is what humans are like to God. I just like babies or like this is creation that he just put there to see what that's why he puts us, let's say, in charge of everything, to see what we will use the earth and all nature for, what will make of it, what will become of us if all these particular things affect us. So I think that is a very, very good analogy of how God created us in a form of simulation like lifestyle.
Okay. And this is a big, and if you understand this idea of simulation, then you care less about death, you care less about the fear of death, you will live a more satisfying life. That's why we're discussing this stuff. It's a really, really mind blowing topic. Okay, you are gonna enjoy. So make sure you hit the subscribe button if you are watching. Subscribe. If you don't subscribe, I'll come and beat you where you are. I'll come to your house if you're in the US, I'll come to your house if you're in India, I'll come to your house there, and I'll come and beat you. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. Okay? And so that is really stuff. So I want to give thanks first of all. I want to just it's just normally we've talked about business idea. We're coming back to the simulation. I'll just give you some time. We've talked about the business mindset on a live stream. Streamed live, I think around 11 o'clock. Make sure you check the description of this video. You are going to see the link to the live stream. Make sure you watch that. That's the first segment of the podcast. It's really, really important. Like, mindset change is really, really life changing. It's really, 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 really important. And, like, let's not forget the fact that when things are rough, it leads to more creativity. Let's not forget that fact. Let me give a proof to support what I'm saying. When we started the YouTube channel, we were having 0 views. I mean, 0 views. We'll post 10 videos, you won't get 1 view. 0 views all the time. We continued like this for some time. Then we got up to 17 subscribers. I think the channel was 1 year old. The time I started uploading videos, 1 year old. We were having 17 subscribers. Remember when I met you at OBS? I told you we were having 17 to 20 subscribers, right? Yeah, that time, right? Yeah. Now it's 17 to 20 subscribers for 1 year. How many of you can be patient like that? How many of you? For 1 good year, 17 to 20 subscribers. Not that we weren't trying to be the best. We were trying to be the best. If it were some of you watching right now, you would quit and give it a name. Then probably there's someone out there killing you, this and that. But we didn't quit. We didn't give it any name. We didn't give it any names. We just moved forward. We moved forward. We moved forward. In that process, we made videos to help people too that will come up too. Like that. Still yet we still increased though. From that 17 we increased to 20 some to 25. Very long time. After 25 we dropped back again. We still continued. We went up again. We dropped back. We still continued. Then I asked myself, what can I do better? This is not learning. We learned everything. We watched all the videos on YouTube. We used everything. Nothing worked. The question now is, what should I do? What should I do? That was what came to my mind. Then my drink came up. I started creating this drink of 18. Wow, that my drink of 18. Then the first breakthrough we had was there's a video I created on motivation, how to decide and act. I just created the video casually. And you know what? Overnight, I got 1.2 thousand views. That was a major breakthrough. Like I told myself, like if this is possible, if I can make this stuff, like then I can succeed on this platform. That's 1.2 thousand views. That's what we got. Then after that, I think we didn't get subscribers from the 1.2k views. No subscribers, people just watched. Period. Question now is now, what should I do? The subscriber was still there. Okay, still constant. What do we do? That's the question. So with this evoked a different reaction in me. That's why don't just say, hey, lack, this and that. No, there's a reason. Lack is, you can use the energy from lack to do something great. Like when we're there, the question now, what do I do differently? I was not targeting subscribers, so I was just targeting to be the best for that I can be to myself. So with that evoked a reaction, a different reaction in me. Then you know what we did? I started creating this drink of 18. I'll play the first explosive reaction to my YouTube channel. It did not get views. Play the second, no views. Third, no views. But I knew back then that YouTube takes time for it to be successful. If you want to go natural, it takes time. So that information helped me too. So I just got there and I did this this particular drink experiment, and it was so explosive. I just put it on the internet, and you know what? I got 1.7 thousand views. I'll leave the link in the description. 1.7k views. That was really, really life changing for us. But imagine we stopped where we started. Imagine we just quitted. We won't get the 1.7 thousand new results that we got. We won't get it. So if we stop now, we will never get more new results. that's a fact. So that was what, like, from there again we uploaded. The Gary Science was a personal business before, but now it's probably more open business. We have distributors right now. Then that is it. We have different channels right now containing different departments in the business right now. So like that's how it is. And from there I started getting 1.2 thousand views from the same fruit drink experiments and different stuff. So you see right now, that is the importance of mindset change. If you stop, you will never get the next result. Like the next result might be what you are looking for. That's real life changing. That's real life changing. Did we make money in the process? The answer is yes. Yes, we did. Okay, so there's a reason for everything. Okay, there's a reason for everything. That's just another information. So let's go back right now to the show right now. So Patrick, now let's talk about the death experience. There are some people who have experienced near death, who have had this near death experience where they will die, or they will die for 5 minutes and something will happen. Okay, now they will die and they will see what they will experience, some tested things, and they will come back to life and talk about their experience. I watched a video on YouTube of a man who had this experience for 30 good years to 50 years. He experienced this thing 50 years ago, but he did not tell anybody. He died. He was pronounced dead for 20 minutes, and he left his body. And he discovered that he saw a screen in front of his eyes. The life he had lived was just playing in the screen, but he was not permitted to look back. There was something out there close to him telling him what to do, and he had no control over what that person said and over whether to disobey or not. That's nothing right now. So from near-death experiments too, it shows that we might be actually living in a game. What do you think about it?
that we might actually. I didn't get that last part.
That is, does the near death experiment, the near death experience, does it support the simulation hypothesis?
Well, again, for me, I don't know since I've not really. I will not say I don't know what the near death experience is, but if it is real, it will. Where if you die or if you are almost dead, like you get if some people say if you are dead or probably if you are dying or near or taking your last breath, they say you get a flash of your whole life. So I think if that is real, I think in a way it would also support the simulation hypothesis, but it may not. It's not a really strong point though.
Yeah.
Unless probably as you see the screen, probably then you get the score. Like after as you die, you get a score, you get like a mark or something like that. I think that is what will. But if just to if you say person died and they saw their whole life flash before them, it could still support the simulation hypothesis. But I think where the whole thing will be, where the whole point will be stronger, is if as the person died, they see their whole life flash before them. Probably they get a mark or something like that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. No,
I think
though,
that
from
is
what
where
he said, when the man died, he got a mark. The man got a mark. He was rewarded. He got a mark. He was rewarded, but he had to come back again. He said he lifted. He was saw himself lifting like up, away from his body upwards. That's what he said. He said after he watched everything, there was a hand that wanted to congratulate him. Period. That's what he said. But from other things, from John, I think David Parkner or Pena or something like that, a British professor, he said that from he's a professor, he's a doctor, and from patients who have actually experienced this near death stuff, everything. He said what he has experienced, what he can summarize or call or bring out from everything. He said that one thing is this. He said death is peaceful. That's what he said. And whatsoever you see after death is religious based. Okay, sometimes. That does not support the simulation hypothesis, though whatever you see is religious based, meaning it's probably in our head. Like what that person saw probably is just in our head. It's still a physical thing. Yeah, it's still a physical thing. It's still in our head. That does not support it. But now going over to that side, let's not support the simulation hypothesis a bit. So now let's go over to the idea right now. If we are not supporting the simulation hypothesis, then we have to try and understand what consciousness is right now. When you die, does consciousness leave you? That's the question right now.
I think definitely. But the whole problem is that you now need to explain what is the root of our consciousness. That is, where does our consciousness come from now? To get, if you don't know where it comes from, you will not know where it goes to. So basically, we just know that we have consciousness. That is, we are aware of our actions and aware of our surroundings. But it's just there. The consciousness is just there. Scientists are not to be able to explain, okay, where does human consciousness come from, or where does consciousness of any living thing come from? It's just something that we have, but we just can't explain why or how it happens.
Okay, so now when a man dies, okay, go on. When a man dies,
people die.
Yeah.
When people die,
Yeah, does the consciousness
lives on, but where does it go to? That is just the thing. Oh, what was it in the first place? Again, we can only explain what consciousness looks like, but not what consciousness is like. We can just say, okay, because we are aware of everything, so we are conscious, but what drives the consciousness exactly?
Yeah.
I think that is a very, very big question that requires a lot of critical thinking.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's another proof. If we are saying simulation hypothesis is not real, then we should be able to explain what consciousness is. For the fact that we can't still explain what consciousness is also a proof that the simulation, like we might be in a big game. That's also a proof that we might be in a big game. Okay, so that's also something to learn from. Okay, now um okay, and also like our source or origin not being clear is also a proof that we might be in a big head game. Now, going over to virtual reality, video games, for instance, right now, there is if you put this headset of a thing, when you put it and you just get carried away in that thing, like whatsoever you see in there is as it looks so real to you. But when you pull the headset, you take the headset, virtual reality, when you take the headset away from you, you probably see reality. There's a scientist, David Hoffman, who said, what if something like that is happening? He has this mathematical proof. Okay, now in this headset thing where you have this I'm forgetting the name, VRO headset, where you have it in your plugged in your head, where you can see some things there, you are going to really feel that thing is what is really happening, and you'll be like carried away with that what is happening there right now. But when you take it off, you see what's happening. Then the guy said, he said, what if that is how death looks like? What if our living, our like we being alive is just we seeing everything, we're carried away by everything, and we are usually carried away. Now, what if death simply means taking away the headset? Then we'll actually see what's happening. How likely is that to happen? To be happening?
I don't really think we are living that sort of virtual reality world, because again, we have consciousness of everything happening. We are constantly questioning every single thing happening around us. So if we were living that kind of, let's say, that kind of reality, definitely somebody must have noticed by now. We are not truly looking like we are just simply living in another reality that we are looking through sort of another lens, like we're just looking through the reality, we're not living it, we are just simply experiencing it, and we could wake up from it one day. But I don't think we are living that sort of reality, because we are conscious, we know where we are, like we have looked not just outside, we have also tried to look into our own minds to try to understand who we are. So in that sort of reality, definitely, before people like that will not be aware of their situation, it means they cannot look far, or they cannot look deep into their own minds, because they look deep into their own minds, they will realize that, okay, they're actually living in a sort of augmented reality world. But we as humans now, we have actually looked very deep into our own minds, trying to understand everything. So if we were living in that sort of reality, we would have noticed very quickly.
Okay, now imagine you were a lizard. Imagine you were a lizard right now. You know a lizard, you can kill a lizard anytime, right? Without feeling anything. Now, you said consciousness, we can make our decisions here and there, right? Now, if consciousness leads to decision making, I believe lizards do make decision. They do decide what to eat, what not to eat. Now, to show if you are saying decision consciousness is based on decision making, then we can say with absolute certainty that the lizard is conscious. And if the lizard is conscious, if you were a lizard, would you agree that you are in a simulation? If you were a lizard, looking at the lizard from the human viewpoint, if you were a lizard now, would you agree? Would you say you are in a simulation or not?
Again, I think that's one thing. The consciousness of different organisms varies. That is how aware they are of their environment varies. For humans, we are the most, or for adult humans, because again, if you look at babies, like newborn babies, or even younger children, probably around 3-4 years, they are not fully aware of their environment. They are simply relying on adults to give them guidance, or to tell them what to do, or to direct them. They are not fully aware of everything that is going on around them. I think, again, for our consciousness is built up over time, or our awareness is built up over time based on how much we learn and how much we see. So the more we learn and the more we see our environment or other organisms, I think our consciousness is built up on experience and all those sort of things. It's almost like our consciousness is evolving. Like it's just constantly passing down or passing up a newer improvement based on what we have learned. So again, the lizards, I don't think they. Again, we cannot really like try to pinpoint where exactly consciousness comes from or what exact consciousness is. Just like we can say, okay, because we are aware of everything happening around us, so we are conscious. But again, the lizards, I don't think they are as aware of their own environment as human beings are. So I don't think they will not be able to say, okay, if they are living in a simulation or not. Again, for you to really know if you are living in a simulation, you need to first understand your environment completely, check patterns, check everything happening around, where you can now decide, okay, if this thing is actually real or if it's just virtual reality.
Okay, that was you said. Okay, if it's actually real, just virtual reality. Okay, so now you said the reason why lizard can't really tell is because they are probably the consciousness is limited now in them, like in them. Now, what if okay in them? Okay, now but some scientists are saying that there is higher consciousness than ours. There's higher consciousness than us. So if you watch Free Guy, the guy in the Free Guy can't tell whether he's being controlled, whether he's in a simulation. But he too was probably to some extent conscious, just like humans too. But there was higher consciousness. So you see it, but there was higher consciousness. So that is just what the many scientists point to as the higher stuff controlling us. They tell us it's higher consciousness controlling or influencing things in this planet right now. Another striking proof to show that we might be living in a simulation, which I want us to discuss right now, is the idea that now we are basically alike. If you check all organisms, we are basically alike. That shows that we are coming from one source. We're coming from even if not one source, but we're coming from probably a system which is actually definite. That's where we're coming from. If yeah, a system which is actually definite. So what do you have to say about that?
And
The
like
idea
you
that we are
explained,
alike.
we are built on like a common core where basically all human organisms we are made as the fundamental unit of all organisms is the cell.
Yeah.
Then the more organisms like higher organisms like human beings, we are complex celled organisms. We have millions, sometimes even trillions of cells in us compared to different other organisms. So in a way, I think how would I put this now? The illusion that because we have a common core means we are in a simulation. I will not actually say it's a really strong point because again a lot of things. For me the main determining factor to that okay to prove if there is truly a simulation or not is based on higher consciousness than that of human beings. That is, there is not just something controlling not just human beings but also everything. That is the universe ordering everything. So higher consciousness for me is the greatest strong point to say, okay, we are actually living in a simulation. Because without the presence of the higher consciousness or higher beings, the existence of all these other of a lot of all these other points will seem like they are just normal things. But it's when there's now the presence of a higher being. That's when much of all these things in relation to there being a simulation now comes into the whole this thing, the whole argument. But without the presence of the higher being, the arguments, the other points, they don't really hold water. Because again, let's say if we in Free Guy, for example, now, if you remove the person that was controlling most of the simulation, you will see that most of everything happening in the game looks normal.
Yeah.
It is when you now added the higher being, that is when you now say, okay, now there is a simulation. So for me, for there to be a simulation, the strongest point that will give validity to the other points now, for me, is just the presence of a higher being or higher consciousness.
Okay, that's a brilliant one. But if you look over the universe, you understand one thing: exactness. Like there is great, like should I say exactness in everything. Check very well. We have the should I say water cycle for example now. Water cycle going on to produce water. Like water is so important, right? That's the reason water, like imagine water was being bought from the market. Imagine water was a limited resources. But we don't have something like that. Whereas if you check the universe, you observe exactness, you observe preciseness in every single thing. It shows that something designed everything. That's what I would say. It shows that something designed everything. Because if this life was actually the way science said it is, where there's this thing different things came up, then there would be exactness. Okay, in the system, there won't be exactness in nature. But if you check nature, there is exactness. Water cycle goes on, nitrogen cycle goes on. You see some countries that are blessed in natural resources. You see other ones that are blessed in wheat, or you see other ones that are blessed in crude oil. You see other ones that are blessed in flour. You see other ones that are blessed in this and that. That exactness alone is a striking proof that something is controlling the game. What do you have to say?
Okay, just so let me.
Okay.
As rain is falling, that one will closer. Okay. Please just repeat the last part.
Okay.
Just
Now,
repeat the last part of what you
okay,
said.
I said like the exactness in nature is a proof that we're living in the game. Because the way science said the earth was formed, something causes a collision, right? That struck the earth. The earth was once a bunny globe, like this and that. That's the I've forgotten the exact word science used. And something collided with it, and probably life was formed. Then it's a good explanation. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel good. It's a good explanation. But I think we should really think deep into it. Because if you check from history, a good scientist is a scientist that can probably assume all other people are wrong so that you can come up with a new system. Because there are some things you accept right now, it will stop you from doing something or doing research more on that particular thing. For instance, now you believe E is equals to MC square, you might not really want to go deep into that stuff anymore. You just know E is MC square already. Period. Right? The Bible tells you God created the heaven and the earth. Period. Science tells you there was collision and somewhere there was unicellular organism. It evolved into multicellular organism. Period. I think all these explanations they make us feel good, but it's good for survival. It makes us feel good about our existence. It's good for survival. But I really do think those explanations will stop us from discovering the exact truth. Now let's assume there was no religion explanation to our existence, because through our existence we can actually tell if we're in a simulation through our existence. Now just assume there's no religion giving explanation on our existence. Let's assume science was not also giving explanation on our existence. Check back then in history. If thunder struck, now we understand that thunder, we understand the origin of thunder, where thunder comes from, right? Now we understand it. But back then, the 14 something, they didn't understand it, right? So when the thunder struck, they are like going to give a comfortable explanation to at that time, which most of them are proven to be wrong right now. But at that time, they helped them to survive up to this point. They made them feel good too. What if we are still in such arguments from ignorance? What if we are in such things to just to survive? What if we are not actually trying to actually find out what is actually happening? That's what I'm saying here. That's what I'm saying. So let's assume that there's no religion explanation. That's what every good scientist does. He assumes that all other people are wrong. But Einstein did it. It was this major problem He assumes like other people are wrong. What if these other people? What if there's no religion explanation? But if you accept what religion tells you, like it shuts down your head. It shuts down your head immediately about the whole idea. If you understand what science tells you, it makes you feel comfortable. It shuts down your brain about the stuff. But yet the problem is not being solved. So I think all this explanation are just argument from ignorance. Like back in the days where thunder struck, they will give it a comfortable description, a comfortable explanation to make them feel good so that they could survive. Because there's no way you stay in an environment and you survive without feeling good in it. They felt good through the explanation they gave to it. Now, what if we are still feeling good through the explanation we are giving to the things right now? And what if all these things will be possible future barriers to make us really, to stop us from really understanding what's going on in this universe? Because we actually need to understand. If we don't understand what's going on here, we will have a purposeless life. That's the simple truth. There are too many people living life out of purpose in this earth right now. We're living it today, nowadays. It's a reason. The major cause is because we don't understand the beginning. So let's assume religion did not give explanation. Well, let's assume science has no explanation. What would you say is the responsible, is the cause for our existence?
Mm, I think so. Again, science now they are just simply trying to give their own explanation based on some few theories or based on some evidence that they feel they might have gotten. Where they say in the beginning, according to them, there were four methane molecules. Then once those molecules collided together, they release an infinite amount of energy
Energy.
that throughout matter of every kind into the environment. Or again, since they were just four molecules, there was no other thing in existence. So those four molecules, their nuclear explosion released a lot of energy and a lot of particles. That's why, according to based on the impact of the explosion,
Yeah.
the universe is so huge or so large because the explosion threw particles all around. So the way planets will now form is that over millions of years, the particles started to stick together and stick together, and a lot of over time, over millions of years, the particles came together to form huge bodies like the Earth, like let's say apart from the Earth, like the different planets.
Yeah.
The stars were formed by the action of hydrogen atoms together.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
immediately there were so many hydrogen atoms together. The gravity caused nuclear reactions, that is nuclear fusion, to be happening, which makes us bright today. The planets over time, most of the particles that were on this, like on Earth, for example,
Yeah.
over time the particles they came together and cells, very very simple cells were formed. And over time those cells evolved to form much more complex creations, and after forming those complex creations they formed human beings. That is the explanation according to science. Basically the universe started through the Big Bang, then we got here through evolution. So from science we evolved from very very simple cells. Over time those simple cells became reptiles, from reptiles to primates to humans now. So that is the whole part of science. So in a way I would not say I do have some issues with their own explanations, like
Okay.
how they viewed this evolution, where we came from simple cells, and from simple cells we became reptiles to primates like apes to humans. So for me, there's something not connecting. The dots are not
Yeah.
connecting
Yeah.
for that
But it makes
evolution
us feel
stuff.
good.
But for the creation of the universe, I will not say I know how the universe was created. Because basically the Bible just said in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Then science said the universe was made through the collision of four atoms. I don't know if probably God was the one that caused the four atoms to collide, or if God actually made those four atoms in the first place. Because again, if you look at it, if there was nothing in the universe, how were they for just four molecules existing? was nothing. How come there was something again? You see, there was nothing in the whole universe. But you're not telling me that there were four molecules of methane suddenly in space that
Yes.
there was no even like they were just four molecules just there existing. Then by gravity, those molecules came together and an explosion occurred. For me, the whole scientific explanation does not really match up. But people will take it. People like that scientific explanation because most of them again they don't really believe in God or believe in anything. But there are still a lot of scientists that will still say, okay, there are scientists that are Christians. There are people that believe in. For me, there's no way to believe in science because science is just simply a study.
Yeah, it's
like
a study.
They're trying to learn more about the particular surrounding and everything in it. So that is science. So basically, a lot of people like that scientific explanation, particularly the Westerners, because that is when I mean Westerners, I mean Americans, the British, the white people.
Yeah.
Because most of them are atheists, so they feel like that one is since if they say they believe in creation, that means they believe in God. So that full Big Bang theory just plays into their own ideology. But for me, I don't really accept that their whole ideology. So basically now we just have two ways to really see how the universe was made. Either by pure accident or by deliberate creation. So by pure accident in what sense is saying that it was by accident that the universe was created and everything was just simply created through how would I put it? Everything was just simply left to after the accident, everything was just simply left to interact and evolve. Why creationism, that is for people that believe the universe was created by a being that is by God with a purpose, believe that God created everything and set every single thing in action. So for me, if I look at based on how good God is, I tend to believe that everything was made with a purpose because the amount of just how good the whole environment, how good what this universe is.
Yes.
Definitely for me, effort was really put in to make sense the way it does today.
Okay, yeah, that's it. Now, effort was put in. If you check very well, the exactness, check the exactitude of everything, check everything. Nature, where water, like water is very, very important, vital to our body, is given for free. For free. So natural resources to everyone for free. So imagine this stuff was not a deliberate action. There will be fault in all this stuff, and which would lead to we getting out of existence. The question is, the universe is a deliberate action. The Bible is pointing at something, but just that too few people are thinking deeply about it. Because there are some ideas that will come to you right now. If you don't think deeply about it, like you will never understand where that thing is pointing at. You can summarize, but you can never understand the details. So I really think you said the universe can be created in two ways. It's likely going to be created in two ways, which is by pure accident or by deliberate action. From the proof, from the exactitude, from the preciseness in nature tells us that like the universe, someone like put in energy to do this stuff. It was a deliberate action. It was a big deliberate action. That is what is like likely, like it's 100% happening. It's a deliberate action. Deliberate action. Now, still, that's the beginning. The beginning was a deliberate action, but how did this deliberate action take place? Is what I don't think we might be ever able to know this. Do you think we might be able to know this? The exact deliberate reason. From what you're saying right now, we're saying science is wrong. So, but what science makes you feel comfortable. But check very well the argument from ignorance from the 1400 when thunder struck. They had the explanation to give at that time. It made them feel comfortable too. So now let's not just like stay satisfied being comfortable with the present explanation we have. Let's try to understand what's actually happening. So now how do you think this deliberate action could have happened? Imagine there was no science. Imagine they probably religion is right? Now we're assuming religion is probably closer to the truth. Now you can use religion to support your idea. You can whatever way. How do you think the deliberate action came about?
For me, the whole topic is, I think, how the deliberate action, I think, for the deliberate action to work, I think definitely there must be God that chose to design things the way they are and for his own reason, right? Because it was good or because again he was just trying things out or testing things out. So basically, I think the whole deliberate action, I don't know how it occurred, but because the Bible did not actually give many explanation or there's no real explanation. Like he just said something words where God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. He did not give of how the light actually came to be.
Yes.
Or probably in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. He did not say how the earth, because definitely something happens for the earth. Well, we don't know for the earth to come to this thing to be made, but we don't know how it will. God just simply said, "Let there be," and again that thing came forth. Same thing of, let's say, when he created the land, separated the land from the sea. He said, "And let there be land, let the land be separated from the sea, so that there will be land and sea, water and land." Basically, it did not say how it happened. It just happened. So basically, for you to explain deliberate actions from the air, you need to explain God, because that is where science now is supposed to come into play. Science again is also try to explain how these things were made, not why they were made, because they don't know. The how is again when they say, okay, let there be light. So definitely the sun was created. We don't know of how it was created, but we know, okay, why was it created, or what is it made of, things like that. And that is where science is supposed to come in and try to fill in the gaps of why things are or why things happen the way they do. That's just the whole part of science. But to explain how the deliberate action was made, you cannot really explain it. The Bible just simply said the words were spoken. So definitely God spoke those words with reason. Like he said, "Let there be light." That means he wanted light for a reason. Yeah. But he did not say how the light actually came to be. The light, the Bible just said, he said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Simple. So again, if you want to explain how the deliberate action took place, you will need to go back in time to actually witness everything happening in real time.
Okay, that's really great. So make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying the conversation right now. It's really, really fantastic. The simulation hypothesis is something that can give us a leap to understand the future, the past, and the present. So we really need to understand this. The more we gain a proper understanding on this, the more we are able to stop the fear of death. Number one, in older people, so that they can live longer, and the more we are likely going to understand why we are really here. There are very few people that are living life of purpose right now nowadays. Why? Because there's too many reasons not to live. There's too many, should I say, no options to choose from as to a life of purpose. There are too few options right now. Why? Because we don't understand. Many people don't understand what this is about. We need to understand what life is about. Okay. So now from a book, the Bible book of Thomas. Okay. I don't know if you have heard about it, where Thomas, the doubting Thomas, research came out that he wrote a book. When Jesus visited them, research came out that when Jesus was teaching them certain things, that Thomas put down certain things, and it was hidden. After years, the script was discovered under a rock, under a cave, something like that. Then the script was they have to transcript, they have to try, how do they call it, they have to make it into, they have to read what he was what he actually put down there in ink. Then when they read it, they understand this particular thing. From him, they said, Jesus said, "You are from the light." The question is now, why did he say we are from light? Number one. And if we study light very well, we say light is almost the ultimate of everything. Light, the speed of light, 3 times 10 raised to power 8 meters per second, something like that, right? Now, everything, light is like almost the ultimate. You are from the light. That was what he said from that book. You are from the light. So now, how do we understand this better when the most powerful people who have lived, okay, on this planet too? Jesus did extraordinary things, right? He made the blind man see. He made the lame man walk. He made this and that happen. Now that same powerful person, we believe can give us a guide to how these things actually happening, or like to explain life better, right? Now this same powerful person is telling us that ye are from the light. Do you advise us to study the light to actually be able to understand what life is about?
I don't really think studying the light. I think when Jesus Christ said we are from the light, he did not actually mean like but I could not. I don't think he was actually referring to light physically. I think he was actually referring to light as a sort of abstract concept, in which basically in the Bible anything that is light has to do with goodness. So when Jesus Christ, I think in that part when someone said Jesus Christ, quote unquote, that we are from the light, I think he was actually saying that means we are from goodness, or by extension we are from God, things like that. So we are basically children of God. I don't think he was actually referring to light that is light as we know it now.
Okay, so that's really good. That's really good. If you got a time, you watch right, then go check the story of Thomas to understand what I'm really pointing out. Okay, if you really want to know more and care more, just do that right now. It's gonna really help. So now, from this point right now, we can end the show right now. From this point, we can say or tell that the Bible is giving us a leap. Okay, the Bible is actually giving us a leap that this universe is a deliberate action. The Bible is giving us a leap, okay? It's the deliberate action. The Bible has earned it. We're not just saying it because it's our religious belief. It's actually the best explanation so far to understand that this universe is deliberate action, and the Bible affirms that very well, correctly, indirectly affirms that this thing is a deliberate thing that was created. Check the exactitude of everything. You understand what I'm saying? How rain falls at the accurate time, everything, nature, everything will tell you like it's a deliberate action. But the universe or the higher beings are not influencing everything. That's why, due to our activities, we can disrupt the nature to change carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere, to change oxygen level in the atmosphere. That's why like not everything is being affected according to the simulation theory we're talking about right now. From Free Guy, you understand that not all the action of the person in the game was actually influenced, not all of them. So what if it is something like that is happening now? What if God created us like a simulation but not influencing every action, although influencing some? Because obviously you see pastors telling you your future, and sometimes it plays exactly like that. Okay, I think those are the rare moments they influence things. Okay, I think these are the rare moments they influence things. You see many extraordinary things. You see people doing deliverance. You see some things talking, right? I think those are the rare moments they influence, but not all action they influence. If we are possibly living in a simulation, it must be a simulation of that sort. That's what I'm saying right now. That's what I'm saying right now. So that's a leap. Bible has given us a leap that this is deliberate action. But should we be carried away by every other thing the Bible is pointing at? I think we might not be able to discover the real truth. Okay, the Bible has given us a leap, fine. Then we need to actually think more into this idea right now. Are we really living in a simulation? That's it. Now, let me talk about the Garden of Eden right now. Can you describe how beautiful the Garden of Eden was? There was no technology at that time. Oh. Many of us are describing the Garden of Eden from our present day technology world we are living in. What possibly could have been there? We don't actually, at that time the Bible was written, take note, there was no light. So what can you actually tell? How beautiful can you actually tell the Garden of Eden was at that time? Was God trying to give an abstract or a concept on the future of humans? Was God actually trying to give a concept that we like? That's what I'm trying to say. I urge you, everybody watching right now, start to think more. The Bible is the solution. The Bible has the answers. Let's try to think more into this idea. That's what I'm saying right now. Let's try to think more into this idea. Was it actually a concept? Was the Garden of Eden
I
a
think
concept?
now that you raised the question, I think it was actually a concept. Because if you read the book of Genesis again, it said, in the beginning, God created humanity, and He made them male and female. Then, moments later, He created, time later, He created the Garden of Eden. After He has finished creating everything, then He now put Adam there to take care of the garden. But don't forget that Adam and Eve were not the only two people that were created. He created a lot of other people outside of the garden. So I think the Garden of Eden with just two people in it was a sort of test or a sort of experiment to see of what will happen if people were put in that type of environment, or if this particular thing what happened there. Because again, remember there were people outside. If the whole thing was if it was like, if he really wanted to put it like that, he would have made the whole earth be like the Garden of Eden. But no, he just simply made the Garden of Eden and made two people
to test the experiment, to test what he built. Wow. Jesus, this is life changing. Wow.
And if you look at it like that, because why else will he do that? Where he put only two people in one of the most beautiful places on earth at that time.
And if you check very well,
if you were to do something like that, it's because you were looking for, let's say, like a result or something of, like you're trying to get an answer or trying to see what will happen. You're trying to get an outcome before you try to do something like that.
No wonder. Now check very well. From the results now of the experiment, it discovered that humans will be stubborn. Otherwise, they will be disobedient. Number two, and they would like to do things the way they want it. But I think that thing helped him to create this perfect structure we have today.
You know what that I've even seen? I think human beings originally knew good and evil. That is like they knew good decisions and bad decisions. I think they already had this sum of knowledge at the beginning. But what was not there, that apple, I think that fruit, I don't think the fruit actually changed a lot. The fruit only, when they ate that fruit, it only introduced evil into the world, like into the earth, for example. Because you see, when the snake went to tempt Eve, for example, after it asked Eve that, okay, why did you not eat that fruit? Eve actually said, because God told us not to eat the fruit. So in a way, she knew what not to do and what to do. So by them eating the fruit, probably, it now introduced different things into the world that were not already introduced before. So for me, the way I'm looking at it, I think the whole Bible is form of long-running experiment that God is just watching human beings to see what they become or what becomes of them. Particularly that beginning, the origin story of humanity in the Bible. I think it's very, very, we need to get a very, very good explanation of what actually took place right from when the universe was created down to when Adam and Eve were actually sent out of the garden. I think that will give us a solid understanding of life, basically.
Okay.
Because that whole part, I think it brings a lot into play.
Yeah. Okay, this is a great one. This is a great one right now. I think the solution has been given already. The solution, whether or not any solution, has been given in this podcast. Watch it over and over again. You will get this. The solution has been given already. Whether or not we're in a simulation, the answer has been given. The answer is, man, we are 100% in a big simulation. The Garden of Eden was a test, was a simulated environment too, that God created to test what He wanted to do large scale, to test it small scale first, then before the whole thing was made. Check the Bible. Sometimes Jesus, most of the words Jesus said were actually, should I say, not physical things, like concepts, like literally ideas, like to like concepts. That is how we should view the Garden of Eden or the Bible or the beginning discussion of the Bible. With that, with doing that, we can say and tell 100% that humans are living in a big simulation. Something is simulating us, something is controlling things and influencing things. But you still have your own way, just like Free Guy. But likely something is influencing. So pay attention to what's around you, the signs around you, and every other thing, because something is influencing it. So Patrick, right now, this is all we have. We have to let's go right now. The next podcast, we're going to talk about after death experience. Is there likely going to be life after death? Like, that's what we want to discuss. Just as we have solved this problem of simulation hypothesis, we are going to solve that problem of after death, life after death possibility. Okay, now, if you had for 60, if you, like I said, this is a continuation of this last segment right now. We're calling it quits right now. What are the 5 books you would recommend to people to read from the business stock continuation? Make sure you watch that business stock discussion. Please hurry up. 5 books you recommend people to read.
One of them is Atomic Habits.
Okay.
The next one is the Atomic Habit. Basically talks about how you can develop good habits or get rid of bad ones.
Okay.
Then now I will recommend The Art of War. It teaches you on how to be competitive or how to it basically gives life lessons from a formal general. And another one is where do ideas come from? It basically tries to talk about the concept of where ideas in general come from. Then Rich Dad, Poor Dad from Robert Kiyosaki. Then the last one that I would like you to read is Nothing is Impossible. I think it was written by the first Superman character. He got into an accident and he recovered from the accident over. The book just outlines his journey from his life from paralysis to his full recovery. So it's a very inspiring book. As to if you read it, you try to get to see the lens through the eyes of somebody that was able before I became paralyzed and was able to actually overcome paralysis in a way to walk again. It's a very, very inspiring book. I think that was one of the first books that I ever started reading that I would say when I wanted to start reading business. That was the first book that I actually read. I loaned it from somebody to read.
Okay. Thank you so much.
These 5 books are if you read them and you understand them, there is no way that you will not say that you have not learned enough. These books contain a lot about everything. That is just life in general, to business, to ideas, to a lot of things. These books contain a lot.
Okay, thanks a lot, Patrick. We have to call it quiz right now. Like you watching right now, you got to get these books. Okay, Atomic Habit by James Clear, the Art of War, right? And I'll get the authors from you later, and we send them over to me. So I put it in the description of this video. Then where do ideas come from? Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Nothing is Impossible by the first Superman character. This is all we have for today right now. The idea of simulation hypothesis. If we're in a simulation, the answer is yes, we're in a big simulation. Check the exactitude of things, check the preciseness of nature, water cycle, everything. You will understand that this is a deliberate action. Someone is spending energy on this work. Okay, but check Free Guy. Free Guy helps us to understand the kind of simulation that this higher being is running for us. Let's go. Hit the subscribe button. I'm gonna create multiple shots from this video. We're gonna get really big views, okay? So let's go. This is all we have right now. Patrick, we say thank you so much. We are gonna have you next on our show to talk about after death possibility. Is there life after death possible? Is there life after death? We are gonna discuss that in bigger terms. Goodbye. Welcome everybody to the sponsors of this podcast. Make sure you listen closely, please. Now, welcome everybody. This is Gary Science. This is a course on Gary Science. Gary Science is having an AdSense program which will help you set or prepare your account to receive payments directly from YouTube as soon as you hit the target on YouTube. As soon as you get 1,000 as soon as you get 1,000 subscribers, you will be able to withdraw your money immediately if you can enroll our class right now. We are having a class right now, AdSense program of Gary Science. We will teach you everything you need to do. This is what this business does. We create online courses for people. We write ebooks and sell to people. We also write audiobooks and sell to people. So hurry up right now and register for our AdSense program. It's very cheap and affordable. It's 1,500 naira only you are paying. Act now. The time will never be just right. Sponsor we have, okay, for this podcast is the paper course of Gary Science. It's the sponsor of this podcast, okay? It's a co-sponsor of this podcast. The paper course of Gary Science will train you on how you can get a verified PayPal account if you are in Nigeria, so you can send and receive payments worldwide. Okay, that's what this paper course does for you. It makes it a reality for you to make money online. It's 2,000 naira you are paying for this. With just 2,000 naira, we will teach you everything. Many of you want to live a good life, you got big dreams, but you've not got big dreams, this and that. We are here to help that become a reality for you. Register this paper course right now. You will be taught everything about paper, verify your account, and you will actually be making money online, okay, when you register this course. With just 2,000 naira, you will make this a reality for yourself. So right now, as you have gotten from the podcast, you are the only one that can limit yourself. You are the one that can bring yourself down. No other person has that power. Even when you give the power to them, does not mean they have the power. It is time for you to act right now. Make your dreams a reality. With just 2,000 naira only, you will be given a verified PayPal account from our online lessons.